Welcome to another Source and Company Live. I'm your host, Source, of course. As always, you can follow the YouTube uh, Source and Company. I think that's what that's what it is. Source and Company. All of the interviews are housed there. And this is like number 78, something like that.
Oh, wow. Lucky
Yeah,
78.
yeah. So today's company is got to start with the genre bending. She's a genre bending triple threat singer, rapper, and songwriter. She appeared on MTV's Becoming a Pop Star. That was hosted by Joe Jonas, Becky G, and Sean Bankhead, and she did very well in that. She is part of the deaf and hard of hearing community, and she is also a Muslim creative, which is a story in itself, and I'm sure we'll discuss that. She dropped a single earlier this year, Help Me. Hold on. Help Me. Help. Okay, I'm not going to
You
do too
got
much.
it. Okay. We got the harmonic way.
Help You Out is the name of it. Today's company, Amira Unplugged. Tap the screen for Amira Unplugged.
Hey, y'all.
How are
Thank you
you?
for having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to be in here. I've literally been in back-to-back writes today. Like writing for people and also writing for myself. So it's been a fun but long day. How about you?
Understood. You know, the work day is always a long day, but this is my favorite part of the day. I love when I get a chance to go live. I like, connecting with the people and
Awesome.
especially love to interview dope people such as yourself. So I definitely appreciate you taking the time. Also, I will say that Amira and I have been planning to do this since January, February.
It has,
And
I
something,
know it's been so hard to like coordinate for sure.
yeah, we've had some bumps in the road, but we're here today and I'm very glad we're able to do this. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Where shall we begin? The phrase genre bending, what does that mean to you?
Oh, that's a good question. So it's funny, when I went on Popstar, they asked me in my initial interview what genre of music I did because there were a lot of people there. Some were country, some were pop, hip hop, all of the great things.
Right.
And I said I would describe myself as genre bending. That was the first time I ever said that. I didn't know it was an actual term. And they were really excited about that. And so they asked me to define what that meant. And I explained that I grew up in a very multicultural area. I grew up around, I went to schools that were primarily Black, Latinx, and East Asian, but then I went to masjids that were African, Desi, all these different cultures around me. And so as I was growing up, I was just exposed to everything from our kinds of like traditional music all the way to like Japanese funk rock and Irish step. It was just, I loved everything. And I
Right.
thought that the most effective way to bring people together in conversation would be to take elements of music that is culturally significant to them and combine it with other kind of styles of music so that there could be conversations with people who don't normally listen to the same music or speak the same language. And so a lot of my pieces have rock elements, soul, hip hop, funk. I'm very excited right now though because I've been writing primarily stadium songs that have like that are rock anthemic with hip hop kind of influences, southern soul, country, like really just bringing all of it together.
Excellent. Excellent. That's a great explanation. And I
Thank
guess that you are a good example of that because you said you grew up around many cultures and many different types of people. So
you.
you're probably a great example of that just in life in general.
Well, thank you. I think one of the most fun things, I don't fluently speak any other languages, but I sing a lot of songs in other languages, right? So like lots of like Spanish, Japanese, French,
Wow.
Thai, like Punjabi songs, like lots of different stuff. And that has also, I think, influenced a lot of the pieces that I'm writing for myself, as well as allowing me to be in rooms with people from those backgrounds and help them write songs that would translate to this audience in the West.
Understood. Understood. Something I probably should have started with this question, just as a general question to you. How are you? Like, it's a lot going on. It's a lot that's probably happened since your appearance on Becoming a Pop Star. How are you doing?
I feel, that like overall, I feel good. I think that it's a constant pendulum when you're an artist, especially an independent artist who does your own marketing, writing, all this different stuff. Um,
Mhm.
it's almost like you're at the mercy of the internet a lot of times. So it's like if the algorithm likes you today, then you might find someone who would find your message touching. And if it's not feeling it, then you're gonna have to try again another time.
Right.
So what I've been trying to do is really just look at my lyrics, listen to my songs that I have that I'm sitting on. I'm really excited to put out later in the year. And I've just been like, this is something not only that I'm proud of, but that I know whether it gets 100 million streams or 5 streams, I put out something to make people proud. So that's brought me peace and that's made me happy. Because I'm creating with a purpose and with a mission instead of just for the goal of like blowing up.
Understood. Yeah, absolutely. Liddy, Liddy Conway, Liddy, just mentioned work till the
Mhm.
morning, and it was used by ESPN.
Yeah,
Um,
it was.
I think did you make a video saying that like you saw it happen?
I did. It was crazy. I got a call from my distributor and they were saying that that ESPN wanted to play it on First Take and they also played it at the end of the conference, the women's conference finals.
Yeah.
Um and I was sitting there like shaking. You should have seen me. My hands were like and then they had it on a couple of news shows as well as Yara Shahidi's show. So that was a crazy way to debut. I was so honored. I think that's why I've taken a step back. Because later this year I want everything to be like boom, 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 like things that
Gotcha.
people really enjoy.
Wow, that's awesome. No, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Wow, that's a beautiful thing. And this is all well. Obviously, it's because you're talented, but it's partly because of your being more visible due to the show Becoming a Pop Star, which, like I said, it was hosted by Joe Jonas, Becky G, Sean Bankhead. Now, for those who don't know, Becoming a Pop Star was basically, well, you probably could explain it better. I'd say it was musical Big Brother with a TikTok feel. Is that fair? Is that
That's hilarious. I could get with that. I think because everything went so quickly. Everything obviously TV magic. Everything happens behind the scenes much faster than it appears. So like 2 weeks is 2 days. You know what I'm saying? Like
gotcha?
if I have to write a song for week 1 and week 2, that's Saturday and Sunday. um, and I think it was really eye opening and interesting experience for me because I was the only one on there who didn't have music out. I was the only one on there who was like a new artist really.
Hmm.
And so they didn't know what to expect coming from me. And I think once I finally got casted for the show and I came out there, they gave us the first challenge. I was like, oh wait, I actually have to write these songs and hopefully do a good job because this is on national television.
Right,
So
right.
they're like, and you have 2 hours, and then tomorrow morning you're gonna record it, and then the next day you're gonna record your music video. So have a concept, and you're gonna write it with this person who you've never met, and it was like so bizarre, but it was an amazing experience. It gave me a lot of confidence to come home, produce my own stuff, write my own songs, and even to come live and write. Like for those people who have been in my lives before, I often ask people for a topic and I write a song really fast. They're like, "How do you do that?" I'm like, "Because I've already had the pressure. I've been under."
Ah, perfect. Actually, I've seen you working on songs and writing songs in your lives and just singing. People bring up a song and you sing it like on the spot. So your lives are always dope when I catch them.
Thank
And
you.
you won fan favorite three I guess all 3 weeks.
Yeah, that really blew my mind. And walaikum assalam to the one who said assalamu alaikum. But yeah, I three weeks in a row, and that gave me a big confidence boost as well because I think coming in, just being straight up, I don't write about relationships, right, or breakups and things like that. I tend to write about like abstract concepts or things that are happening in life, or like this most recent song that people have been responding to about that was about the ache of having lost someone, uh And so for people to be like, yes, this is what I want to hear, that really made me cry. I was in my hotel room crying.
Respect. Look, creatives, we are emotional people sometimes, you know.
Yes.
So you got to let it out. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that at all. Now you mentioned not writing about relationships necessarily,
Hmm.
more platonic songs, and like
Definitely.
that abstract. Is that in is that because of uh, your relationship with God?
I would say primarily yes. When I was growing up, I was in an organization 4-H. For those who aren't Southern, 4-H is a youth organization. It's like leadership and agriculture and volunteer and all this stuff. But every
Right.
year there was a competition called Project Achievement, and my dad and I would select a song that was inspirational or like had some sort of message outside of like romantic relationships. And it started out for religious purposes. It started out because there aren't a lot of us who are on the scene, especially not in America. And my goal is to sing things that align with my beliefs, like helping people, lifting people up, and like leaving the world a better place, these sorts of things. But now it's like a big part of my own personal philosophy, and like it's in my DNA. I'm like, this is what I write about.
Yeah. I should have asked you this before I even asked that question, or I should have brought this up. So oddly enough, a couple of days ago, my wife and I watched a show. I don't know if you know a show called FBI,
Hmm.
but one of the main characters is a Muslim, and another character, I guess, for that episode came in who was also FBI, and he was
Hmm.
a Muslim as well.
Hmm.
The main character had been seeing himself uh, kind of getting away from saying that his job, doing things on his job that he may not have done in his personal life because it
Hmm.
was part of the job.
Right.
The other character came in and he was undercover, he wouldn't take a shot when it was offered to him.
Hmm.
He wouldn't shoot a guy when he should have shot him.
Right.
And it was like watching somebody struggle with their religious beliefs
Hmm.
versus somebody who was probably in the wrong field,
Yeah.
but with religious beliefs first, regardless of what happened from that.
Hmm.
Is that something that you've had to deal with, or maybe struggle with?
I would say in this industry there is so much risk, right? That's a primary reason why I like really am trying to stay mostly independent until I get to a point where I have the leverage to make
Yes,
demands, you know,
yes,
because people want to change your look. They really, and they do it so subtly, right? They're like, hey, look at these styles. Maybe you could wear something tighter. Maybe we could push it back. I see people wear the ringlet. Like, there's a lot of different things. And I'm not judging how other people like practice their religion because we're on our own path. But
right,
I think I had to come to a place where what I was doing made me comfortable. And it's an uphill battle every day. Like, there's things people don't even think about. Like opportunities that I've been offered to like sing for a show or have a placement if I will cover this song. That's money. You know what I
right.
mean? That could really, I could really use to get studio time or buy more equipment or things like that. But ultimately, it's like, this isn't what my mission is. This isn't what my purpose is. And it's a very slippery slope. Like that movie Harry Styles was in recently. I can't remember the name of it right now, but his movie debut. I was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to sing for a Warner Brothers event in promotion of that in LA, but all the songs that they had were things that didn't align. They weren't comfortable for me. And that was really hard. But every
Right,
time I do that, I find that very soon after, something else happens that makes up for it, right? Like, I may not have had that opportunity, but when I put Help Me Help You Out, the first clips of that on my pages, which was shortly after that event, um, the response was so remarkable. People talking about their own relationships with their families and things like that. And I took that as the win. You know what I mean? So
Right.
you got to stay grounded every single day. I write my purpose on my computer all the time. I have sticky notes, like everything.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's real. That's real life right there. Uh, let's get back to becoming a pop star a little bit, just because I'm sure people love to hear about that. I'm sure you talk about it enough in your own lives, but I'm sure people want to hear
Sometimes,
more
like
about it.
not.
How was that whole experience for you? Was it like you said that you had the stresses of having to write the song immediately? Uh, was obviously you wanted to win. I assume you didn't go in there to lose, but
Sure.
finishing top three, was
Yeah,
that
I was second place.
satisfying for you, or did you find the positives in that?
Yeah, I was much happier, and I'm not blowing smoke or anything. Also, walaikum assalam, Nadia. But I'm
No,
not
I was
blowing
about to
smoke
say
or anything at all. Like I was on that stage, and it was between me and Sammy, and I felt my heart drop because I was like, "Am I gonna win?" Because I didn't want to win. Let me explain why.
hey, look, I already knew you were gonna say that. I feel you already, but
I
go
didn't
ahead,
want to
please
win.
explain.
Oh my gosh. The reason I didn't want to win is because I was a new artist. I was someone who had a perspective that I didn't want to be controlled by a company, right? Even though I love Pepsi, I love their philosophy on helping young artists and things like that. But I just knew it would go down a road of like commercializing and all these things that I didn't want my first music to be. So
Right,
I was really, really satisfied with getting second place and getting the three fan favorites because I was the only one who got fan favorites week to week. And so I felt very blessed. And then the next day, because they hadn't aired the fourth episode yet, the next day when I was about to fly home, they called me and they were like, "You won fan favorite for episode four," and I remember I was on the sidewalk and I like fell down. I'm so dramatic, but my body, like if I'm laughing, I'm on the floor. If I'm excited, I'm on my knees. Like I'm so excited.
nothing wrong with
And
that.
like so I fell down and I was there with my parents because they had flown them out and they were like, "That's what I'm talking about. It's the people, you know what I mean, that matter." And so once the outcome became public, again, so many shows of support, not only from young Muslim kids who were watching the show, which was really exciting, but also from people from all sorts of communities being like, "It was just great to see someone you never see." And it gave me confidence. And I screenshot those messages and I keep them in a folder like, it's all about staying mindful, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. So the recording of this show took place in 2022.
Hmm.
Okay, so you recorded in 2022 and it came out in 2022.
Hmm.
How was the whole pandemic for you?
Man, man, okay. When the pandemic changed my life, and I don't say that mildly. When it started, I was about to head to law school. Like that was my life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was, my whole closet was suits. I carried it, but like my whole goal since I was 8 years old was to go to law school.
Wow.
And um, when the pandemic started, I decided to pull back because I was like, I know myself. I'm not going to do well in online law school. I need to be in person. So I was like, okay, I'll go next cycle. In the meantime, I was at home and I was still like doing my political work because I used to be a deputy finance director for different campaigns. And I was just doing those things from home and trying to help different causes. But then I started writing a lot, right? And I decided that I was going to post covers on Instagram just to cheer people up a little bit. And a month into that, The Voice called, and then I auditioned for them, and then they were like, "We don't know if this is the look and style we're going for this season." I was like, "Okay." So then American Idol called, and I had a private audition, and then they were like, "Okay, you're gonna go to the judges round." I went there, got the golden ticket. That was crazy. And then they were like, "Make sure to big up this online and tell people to watch because this is a historic thing. We've never had a hijabi get this." And then the last day of auditions aired, and that's when I found out that they decided they punked out. They were like, we're not gonna air it," and that really broke my heart.
Oh, oh,
But
we got to stop right here. We got to stop right here. Okay, let's back up just a little bit. The Voice. So I didn't even realize about The Voice.
Hmm.
So that didn't work out.
Hmm.
But then you got the golden ticket at American Idol, and they backed out.
They backed out. They were like, they were reminding me to post about it. I posted, the post went viral, like people on my Instagram, because I didn't have a TikTok yet. Um, and people were tuning in every week. They saw me in the background of some of my friends' auditions, and they were like, "Oh shoot, da da da," you know. And then the last day came, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're not gonna air it." And then they were like, "We're so sorry, we can't air every audition." Da 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 da. And I was like, "No," because this is a little ridiculous. So I decided, that's when I decided to make a TikTok account, because I was like, they can't control the trajectory of my career. Let me just, people have been on here posting. I've been nervous to post. Let me just try this out. My second post on here started blowing up, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep posting. So I decided to talk about it. And I was very nice. I didn't throw shade at them. I was just like, hey guys, some of y'all are coming from my Instagram. I know you were excited. Unfortunately, it's not going to air, but let's still take this as a win. That post blew up, and then people were on their page like, yes. I told people to stop doing that, because that's not what I was trying to do. Good
Right,
Morning
right.
America called. And then they were like, and I told them I didn't want to do an interview on that, because I didn't want my debut into the world to be something controversial. I'm
Right.
controversial enough. I'm a Black Muslim deaf genre bending singer. Like, I don't need it to be something about Islamophobia or anything like that.
True. I mean,
Oh Lord.
that's fair, especially at the time.
No, exactly. And so I was like, I'm just gonna take this and run with it. And so I started posting over the course of the next year, trying to do really creative stuff and mashups and my own songs. And so I hope this isn't too much background. I'm trying to get to
Oh, I
where.
love it. I love
Okay.
it. I'm here for it.
So I remember in November of 2021, I was talking to my mom and my dad, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, because I'm posting, I'm trying to get to a place where I can get the resources to make music and show people like I'm an artist. I'm not just like, I'm not a content creator, which is like one type of musician, that makes, but for me, I wanted to be more of a mainstream artist. And they were like, something's gonna happen. That night, I got a call from the casting producer. They DM'd me, and they were like, hey, I'm working on a show with Pepsi, MTV, and TikTok. It's gonna be called, at the time it was gonna be called the TikTok Challenge, because they were pulling everyone from the app.
Right.
It was a 3-month long audition process,
Wow.
because there were thousands of people that they reached out to, and they were like, we're only gonna pick 8. So I had like 7 interviews. I had to do like wardrobe stuff to show them my style. I had to like I send profiles for my friends, all these different things. And then in January, they were like, it's down to 16 of y'all. And y'all are gonna get a challenge. We're sending y'all a phone to record, and you have to, by 2 days later, you need to have written a song about your city, filmed a video on the phone, edited it, and sent it in. So we did that. Then they were like, so go ahead and start packing, because as soon as we tell you that you're coming, you're flying out the next morning. So
Mm.
I'm in there packing, filming all the BTS stuff. And then at a certain point, I was like laying on my bed, like rocking for like an hour. And then they called, and they were like, congratulations, you'll be out here at 7 tomorrow. Um, and so when I got out there, it just was a whirlwind. We were filming talking heads and confessionals and getting photos. There was way more footage than they showed on the show. Like, that's one thing I wish that they had put more out there. But it was a remarkable experience. Had they put this on Netflix or something like that, I think it would have gone crazy,
Yeah.
because it was so surreal, and it's so different from any other program that I've seen, because it gave us the opportunity to not cover other people's stuff, but to show what we had as artists, which is all I ever wanted. I honestly, when I came on there, I was scared that I was going to be tokenized or something, because
Hmm.
I've been in a lot of environments where, like, okay, we got the shot of the Muslim contestant, now she can go home.
Right.
It didn't work out that way. So I feel like it was a really powerful experience. In regards to the pandemic, like I said, I had not gotten sick the entire time. I stayed in the house literally for 8 months when it first started. I got my groceries delivered. I got COVID out there on the filming of the
Of
show.
course.
As soon as I wrote the third song, which was I Will Run, um I was not feeling very good, but I was like, okay, we were on set for 16 hours the day before. So I was like, I'm probably just run down. The next day, I got to the recording studio. I'm sweating and like coughing. And I was like, okay, I put some ice on my head. I was taking herbs and stuff. And I was like, I just need to record this because if I don't want to go home, because the rule was if you got sick, you're going to go home. And I didn't
Right.
think I had COVID. I called my sister and I was like, I'm not feeling good. She asked what was wrong. She was like, when's the last time you took a COVID test? And I was like, it's not COVID. I recorded the song. I did choreo practice. I got home. I got my results back and I had it. So I had to stay quarantined for 11 days. And then they gave us another month. So I was in LA for another month to make sure no one else got it because then they'd have to shut down the whole production of the show.
Right.
Um, so me, Linnea, and a few other people got it. Then as soon as I got better, because they had to play catch up, I'll never forget these 4 days. I had to write the episode 4 song, write that day, meet with a producer to get a beat, meet with the team to talk about what I wanted my video to be. An hour later, write the episode 5 song, work on that beat, start on costuming, then the next day go scout sets, and then the next day film the episode 3 video that I missed filming because I was sick.
Right.
And then it was crazy. So this pandemic,
Wow.
it changed the trajectory of so many things. Like, oh my gosh.
That's crazy. And that was a real experience. I mean, just that was probably something that you'll look back on in a few years when you're doing other things and you're just out there on a regular basis. You'll be like, yep, I was being trained for this moment back there on Becoming a Pop Star. I remember.
That's how I tried to look at it. I'm like, this is building character and stamina.
Right, definitely. Wow, that's awesome though. That's an awesome story. You said you were going to you had known since you were 8 years old that you were going to be a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. My daughter wants to be a lawyer, my youngest daughter.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's dope. Just since we're talking about it, what was it about that? Because you speak so well. I don't like to say you speak so well. I mean,
thank you. I understand.
you're an intelligent person though, obviously. But
Thank you.
what was it about, or what is it? What was it? Is it still in the back of your mind? But what was it, or is it that drew you to that line of that line for your future?
For sure. Yeah. Well, we had career days growing up, and when I was 8, there was a career day that I went to, and I was the only one who stopped at the attorney table because I mean, it didn't look very fun. Like I almost didn't stop, but she looked lonely, so I wanted to talk
Oh,
to
it
her.
was your heart. It was your heart.
Oh my gosh. And so she was like, she was telling me about what she did, and she was a criminal defense attorney, and it was very interesting. I also shout out to her for using words an 8-year-old can understand about that profession. But I always remember I asked her, why should I become a lawyer? And she said, if you want to be a superhero and help the whole world, you should become a lawyer. And that was it. That was a wrap. I was like, I'm going to become an attorney.
Oh,
And so I didn't have, my eyes weren't this bad when I was a kid, so I didn't wear glasses, but I
right.
got fake glasses and I wore them in elementary school. I carried a briefcase as a backpack. Like it was that serious. Um, and I as I grew up, I would always watch like the news with my dad, and we would have like debates and discussions. Like I would write my own little pieces on them, like all sorts of stuff. And that was just the trajectory. When I was in high school, I went to law academies, law camps. I did mock trials all the time. I did state level, national level. Like um, I was a nationally ranked student attorney, and I'm in the student bar. Like it was serious. I went to
Wow.
CNN camp. Like it was like that
Dang.
was it. And when I got to college, it was all politics. So my high school was a dual enrollment school. So in ninth and 10th grade, you had to finish your high school curriculum. Then you had to take the test. And if you passed, you could go to the university full time. So that was the path I took. My degree at that time was criminal justice. And then my bachelor's, my next degree was in political science and public policy. So that, I'm telling you,
Serious.
that was it. Um, and once I finished school, let me see, I moved to DC for a bit to do a fellowship with Congressman Hank Johnson's office. I did stuff with the Muslim Public Affairs Council, like it was on that, and then I worked for Carolyn Bordeaux and Stacey Abrams.
Wow.
But but music was also equally as serious. Like at the same time, every year I would do competitions. Anytime there was someone needed a performer, they would call me, like in different situations, right? My dad and I would practice like I was going to be a singer. And so when I switched paths, I had to recognize that the things I wanted to do to help people could be done effectively through music, you know? Everything that I wanted to achieve in that way, I could do through lyrics that were impactful. And I had to really embrace that and embrace like being my full self, the silly side, the zany stuff, in order to connect with people. Cause I was very like straight laced, like
Briefcase. I mean, briefcase at 8.
a briefcase at 8. I bet you my mom still has it. It was a little pink one. Let me read these comments. I'm so dead, Brianna. You're so silly. And then Ella, do you still plan on getting your law degree? That's what Source asked. I do think I will in the future, but not to change careers. I want to do it because now that I'm in entertainment, I see so much political overlap in this, particularly for artists of color and underrepresented artists. And I'd love to be able to help people get a fairer deal, a fairer shot. And not take so much off the top like attorneys do. But I remember when I was working on the Hill, like one of the things I noticed, it wasn't attorneys that were coming into Congressman Johnson's office all the time. It was singers and actors. We had the two that were in there the most were Taraji P. Henson and 21. They would come in there all the time to talk about speaking on behalf of programs or getting funding for local things or coming and talking at hearings. So entertainment and politics and law are like
it's your life. It's your life right there in front. That's dope. Lady said, speaking of attorneys, Mr. Not Stanley Tucci is in the building. What's up, Rob? How you doing, man? Once again, for those who don't know, I'm speaking with Amira Unplugged, and she's dope, as you can hear. You know, I don't need to say much else. Let's see. So let's touch on well. I've totally forgotten until right now. I just looked at my notes.
Mhm.
I've forgotten that you are part of the deaf and hard of hearing community.
Mm-hmm.
How how long have you been, like, was this from birth, and has this caused you any issues as far as dealing with these different avenues that you've been on?
That's a great question. So first, we think that I lost my hearing when I was around 2. In my left ear, I'm entirely deaf. Basically, there was a kind of an experimental vaccine at the time. I'm not anti-vax. I'm just telling people there was an experimental vaccine at the time. And unfortunately, I had a lot of side effects. I couldn't walk for days. I couldn't eat. Like there were a lot of different things. And one of the things that happened, we can't source it for sure, but what they suggested in the doctor's office is that is likely when I lost my hearing.
Wow.
When I was a kid, though, some people on here might remember I posted on my page, I didn't realize that it wasn't something everyone dealt with. Because I don't know, sometimes I think the reason why I write so much and like do a lot of different things is because I'm mildly insane. And so every time there's like a gap in understanding, I just make up something to fill it. So I thought, okay, everyone's right-eared or left-eared because everyone's right-handed and left-handed.
Wow.
So I'm like, I'm just right-eared and right-handed.
I respect it.
It was so, oh my gosh. But I do remember having trouble on, like, for example, there was a very specific spelling test. I don't know why this one sticks out. It might be because it was right before the school screening for hearing, but I think the word was like apple, and I wrote of because I only heard the
Uh,
and my teacher put a question mark next to it because he was like, there's something wrong here. And a couple days later, we had our screenings. They told my mom that she needed to come in. Everyone was like, ooh, Amira's in trouble. I wasn't in trouble. I just needed to go get my hearing checked. In regards to challenges, it definitely has presented some challenges in regards to performance and recording. So when you record music, for those who aren't musicians, basically you go in the booth, you have headphones on, and then you hear monitoring back. The problem is the music can get so loud. It's like because I hear everything in mono. So a lot of the things are unbalanced, right, when
mhm.
I'm recording. So then I'll have them put all of the sound in one ear, but then that can get muddy, right? So I've had to find solutions like, okay, play the bass line in this ear so I can go along to the beat, and then let me sing a cappella, and monitor myself back, and all sorts of things like that. I've been looking to get in-ears fitted. They're very expensive. But like custom in-ears that will double as a amplifier when I'm speaking to people. So it hasn't been easy, but every challenge really, like, it's just been like, oh, this is a solution that I can tell somebody else at some point, you know?
And that's a great way to look at it. Uh, your experience is a learning experience for somebody else to make it easier on them.
Exactly.
That's dope. That's dope.
Thank you.
Uh, so when you were talking about American Idol earlier, even though you said you didn't want people to be negative about it, like
Right.
to them, did it and had to, but did it give you a sour taste of the show or the entity overall, or
You
did you just think it
know,
was bad for you?
I think that I have mixed feelings on it, and just like I have with most mainstream like singing shows, um, because unfortunately they do cater to like certain demographics. They don't want to take a lot of risks, you know. They're scared of losing viewership, so that is unfortunate. But I will say I have friends who have gone on the show, who have been able to advance their career in some way, even if it's not the promises that they make in the initial calls.
Right.
So for that, for the exposure for those who get it, I'm for it, you know, as long as you go in with the proper expectation, you know.
That's it.
Like, I didn't go in there being like, I want to be the next American Idol. I just went in there to be like, look, there's someone like you, whoever you are at home, who's out here trying to make it, you know. So I think if you look at it through that lens, it's not so sour, you know.
Right. That's beautiful because that's an easy. They gave you a reason to be negative. They actually put a reason in front of you to feel a certain way about it, and I respect that you're trying to see the positive in it for other people as well.
Thank you.
So that's
Oh,
dope.
can I read this comment really? Let me see.
Absolutely.
Amira, I'm in the process of getting my in-ears. DM me. I'd love to help you. Yes, you know I will, girl, because it's a weird process trying to get them.
The in here.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. For some reason, back when we first were planning to do this, I wrote down Child's Play, but I don't know why.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I haven't thought about that in a minute. I wrote a song, a rap called Child's Play. Um, and I was doing it on my live, and people were like, put this out, but then I had to stop for a little while because I couldn't I needed to put out more singing songs first. But yeah, that's once I have a few more singing pieces out, I think I'm gonna go for it and just put it out there.
That is hilarious to me because back in the day, long ago, when I was trying to be a rapper, uh, my partner and I, did an album called Child's Play.
Really?
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it
That's
is.
why we got connected.
Right
Like,
here, right here.
oh my gosh.
So we talked about you being a genre bending artist and grabbing from all different styles of music.
Mhm.
Are you a list person? Like if I ask you for your favorite five artists, is that weird?
Ooh. I can do it, but I'm also a Libra, so it's hard to pick the
This will be different tomorrow. I got you. I got you.
but I can think. Let me see. I can talk about five artists that are inspiring me right now.
Perfect. Perfect.
So maybe some artists that were significant. When I was growing up, I was obsessed with Earth, Wind, and Fire, like obsessed with them. My sister and I had the concert tape that my dad bought us, and we watched it every day. I knew the dance moves and everything. And I consider them to be genre bending artists too. They do funk, they throw a little hip hop, they got soul. They really have mastered a lot of different styles. They do ethereal and experimental things quite well, big band. So they always really inspired me. I love Erica Baidu a lot. Because she's on her own wave. She does not care. She's like,
All the
I'm going
way.
to wear a wrap that touches the ceiling, and you're going to be like, that's fashion.
Right.
Absolutely. Like, let me move out of the sun a little bit. Let me think. I love, what is it? Who sings it? Why can't I think of them? I'll come back. Right now, I'm really loving Burna Boy. I have all his music, and it's like, again, I really love people who make their own lane. Wow, that's such a cool gift. Thank you. I'm sorry, I got the seal. I've never gotten that one before. Thank you
Oh
so
yeah.
much. Um, oh man. But I really love Burna Boy. I really loved Ellie Goulding when I was younger, and it was her music was very touching, and she had such a unique voice. I remember people when she was growing up, she would either get you sing so well or you suck, and there was like no in between. So it was
Wow.
great that she decided to listen to the people who said you did so well. But there was a very specific reason I loved her, and it was because the song Lights with the do 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 do, right? It felt like I could hear it because of how high the pitch was. And that's something I try to emulate in my new music, having pitches that you can feel, you
Right.
know? And it seemed like everything she did was so tactile. She's a drummer, and so you can feel the beat even if you can't hear it very well. Um, I'm trying to think because I don't want to leave anybody out. I
Hey,
feel like
somebody
not
always
like they're
gets
gonna
left
get
out. It's okay.
not like they're gonna be personally hurt. Um, but let me see. I also really like Fleetwood Mac. Um, The Chain is one of my all-time favorite songs, like because it goes through so many different things. And again, there's genre bending too, in my opinion. Thank you, sis. I appreciate the roses. Okay, it's a drive-by. 18, 19, 21, 33. Dang, I feel like I'm getting shower. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I interrupted myself. But that song has rock elements, it has twang, it has folk. It's wispy and ethereal in some sections and very grounded in others. I would have loved to have written that song. Uh and I'm gonna say an honorable mention, even though he's not honorable mention, he's like very high up, is Michael Jackson, obviously. Um, but it's not just like he was such a big part of the soundtrack of my life. Another part of me really was a touching song to me because it was essentially using the alien analogy to talk about including people who were different. And then beyond that, he was another one who didn't care. Like he was pop, funk, rock, hip hop, soul, blah 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 blah. The sun is really trying to eat me up today, so I'm gonna. Oh my gosh. I love
That's a
you too, sis. Thank you.
that's a great list, though. That's a great list. Different vibes from all over the place. So that's dope.
Definitely.
Which speaks to genre bending and your multicultural background. So that's definitely visible right there.
Thank you.
Austin in the comments asked, "What is your favorite collab that you've done,
Mm.
and who would you like to collab with?"
Ooh, okay. That's hard. I'm newer, so my main collaborator has been Lexi. Also, thank you for the love. Thank you very much. Lexi Hayden, because we met on Popstar, and when we wrote Sunshine together, which for those who don't know, that was the second song of the series. We didn't expect what came out. We are so different, but
Right.
we really, really came together on that song. And when I created the beat for Work Till the Morning, I immediately thought of her and I called her and asked if she could come down to Georgia for the weekend and we could write and record that song. So it's been really fun to collaborate with someone who they honestly they put us together to be the flop pair. They didn't expect us to work together very well. And now she's one of my best friends. So I think with the dream collaboration, I have a whole list ranging from Coffee and Nilam and Berna and Dagon, what Ira Star, all these different people. But right now, I'm really in my rock bag. Y'all are gonna see very soon. And there's an artist named Sean Dawson, and he is incredible. He does kind of rock hip hop fusion. And he has this song called Three Heads that's about like mental health and anxiety and how he feels like he's putting on a facade, like he's living through a lot of this time.
Right.
I would love to do something with him.
Wow. Well, this is the
Hi.
call out, Sean Dawson. I
What's
want to
up,
see
man?
this.
It's so good. It's so good. His music is so good. If you haven't heard it,
So I said you were a triple threat. You're actually a quadruple threat with the production as well, huh? Is that enough? Is that enough?
that's enough.
Okay. All right. All right. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
That's awesome. Lydia actually asked earlier if you had any thoughts on. Well, first of all, last week I did a live with a couple people talking about AI and
Mhm.
its movement in the music world. Do you have any thoughts on AI and the good, the bad, or the ugly of it?
That's so funny. I had this conversation with a producer I'm working with yesterday.
Okay.
Um, and we were talking about how like the good and the bad of it, right? So she was speaking on the positive and I was kind of speaking on the negative of it. I liked her points that it's here and it's not going anywhere, so we
Right.
how can we use it effectively? She's used it to design coursework. She's used it to sound match like with different keys. She's also used it for scheduling and automated scheduling, so that was really cool. To me, it's kind of scary because like for example, I've gone in and asked it, I'm like, hey, write a song about two ice cream cones falling in love. And
Wow.
it wrote a coherent piece. It was missing the soul, the human factor of it,
That's
but
it.
it was technically good. And I asked it to create a sample track that was hip hop and country, and it gave me an okay track, right? That's why it's worrisome to me because it's constantly learning and advancing at a rapid pace. With all of these fake vocals, right? How they've been able to create songs that sound like Ariana Grande singing or The Weeknd. That scares me. I'm
Right.
like, because where do the lines blur between real artistry and artistic integrity and the unfortunate rise of artificial sounds? Also, I got a few comments I just want to
Go
read
ahead.
really quick. Let me
Do
see.
you think?
Hi, Anne. Thank you for the prayer hands, y'all. Hi,
I
Miss
and
Philly. Let me see. Hi, Cece. Oh my gosh, I love y'all. Let me see. I was in a work meeting, have a brief break. Thank you for spending your break here, girl. Oh my gosh. Okay. I hate to ignore comments. I'm
oh
sorry.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Gotta appreciate the people when they come through and show love.
Definitely.
But yeah, I understand what you're saying in regards to the good and the bad. I
Hmm.
look at it. Well, you got the uses of it, like your friend said,
Hmm.
that can be positive in the right hands. I think it's
Right.
all about because once you open things up to the masses, you can't control how it's used. You can't control.
Exactly.
You can think it's positive, and it can be flipped on all of us and used to kind of. I mean, you'll never be able to wipe out the artist because
Right.
people love people, and computers don't have souls. So
Right.
you can't create a soul for AI. Like that's
Right.
you can think you're doing it eventually, but you can't create a soul for AI. The thing that is concerning, one of the other
Mhm.
things that's concerning to me is the fact that you have music that has become a lot more alike as opposed to diverse.
Yes.
So it kind of makes it easier for AI to copy what is the style that everybody's doing. If everybody's doing the same thing,
Hmm.
it's just going to be here. It might not be exact, but it may be close enough to take those same people that like that same sound away from the actual people who
Real.
created it.
And that is a great point. It's very concerning because when I listen to music now, I feel like there's been benefits and drawbacks to having the internet be such a major factor
Yes.
in music creation and in promotion. And one of the problems is that there's so many indie artists like me trying to get out there
Right.
that people just want to fall into a niche a lot of times where they know they can find an audience. So they're like, okay, I will be a pop artist. And if you like this style of music, you should follow me because I'm like your favorite artist.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of trying to break out and create their own sound because it's scary. And they figure that, and I've had conversations with friends who are like, straight up, I'm on this road until I hit it big. And then hopefully, that's what they'll say. And then they'll say, hopefully, people will like my new styles once I come out with it. Because it is hard. I can attest to it. It is difficult when you're trying to build a following with something that's pretty brand new for people.
Right.
Thank you, Anne. Like that's pretty brand new for people, and it can be scary. Like and so the AI making it easier to replicate sounds that are popular just makes it that much harder.
Right. 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 But I'll always say that they like I said, you can't replicate soul. Like you
Yes.
can't represent replicate an individual's being
Right.
because
Like
they. I mean, we're all different. We're all different.
exactly. Like, and the way, like yesterday, I was writing a song, because ESPN asked for some more music, and
Dope.
they like we want some anthemic songs. So I was writing a song, with one of my buddies, and we were trying to make it something that felt elegant and statuesque, but also had a rock edge. And the analogies we were coming up with and the references to history and all this stuff, there's no way an AI would think, let me reference We Will Rock You in House of the Rising Sun and put it with Egyptian Ushabti. Like what computer is going to do that?
Right.
So that's where I'm hopeful. Thank you, Anne. That's where I'm really hopeful that they can't take over that space.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let me see how much of your time I've taken,
Oh, I'm
Amira.
having a great time.
I
Thanks, Camilla.
appreciate. Oh, we've hit an hour. We're around an hour anyway. Do you have? Uh, well, you said earlier that you are planning for later in the year to
Hmm.
drop some more stuff.
Hmm.
Anything we should be looking for? Anything we should keep an eye out for?
Definitely. I was planning on putting out a song called Bounce Back next, which is country rock, hip hop kind of vibe. But after the response on this video, um for the chorus I posted of the song Scream, I was like, I'm gonna put that out because it's needed right now. The
Mm,
comments suggest this is what people need. So I finished those lyrics, and I'm trying to get it produced and everything next week. And I'm trying to get it out as fast as possible. And then it's going to be right back to the regularly scheduled programming. But I'm really excited about that song. It has the background definitely has a lot of like Japanese and North African influences, and then it has a lot of like hard rock guitars and things like that. So that'll be a fun one, I think.
have you had any pushback from those other genres, like
Like different
different
cultures.
fans of? Yeah.
So I actually, anytime I use any music that reflects another culture, I do consult with musicians who come from that culture, and I try to understand what is the best way to use it. So, for example, if I'm using an oud or if I'm using like a different strings and stuff like that, I want to make sure that there isn't a significance to the meaning of the sound, because that's something
Right.
you can run into, that would make it inappropriate for like a certain tone, and I want to understand like how to match them up in an effective way. So I'm not like culture vulture, and I'm not like stealing from people. Rather, I'm like okay, let me use a sample patch that will like allude to this feeling that I get whenever I listen to like Japanese rock musicians and stuff like that.
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, especially because I'm sure this has happened a million times in the past where people use songs and don't think about the mean. Actually, not funny, but I know a guy,
Hmm.
Mike Street. If you ever heard of him, he's a radio guy, national
Hmm.
radio guy. Right, like on the back end of Hurricane Katrina,
Hmm.
they used a song for a commercial. They were
Oh,
speaking about Hurricane Katrina,
hmm.
but I don't know. I guess they just used an instrumental.
I'm so
The
scared.
name of the song was Kiss Your A Goodbye. And I was like, bruh, did you not think that through? You had to think that through. Yeah, yeah, they didn't think it through. I don't know if anybody else ever said that to him, but
That's
I
a
definitely heard it and caught it. I was like, yo, that is you know, he's like, yeah,
and that you can't just do whatever you want. That's the thing. And
right,
Ann said that's how you do cultural appreciation. I appreciate that because that the thing I learned growing up in Clarkston, that's where I'm from. There are over 150 countries represented in this area,
wow,
and the thing I most understood growing up here is that people just want to be respected. You know, people want to be seen and respected. And if I'm trying to uplift a certain sound, I don't want to put it in the background of something that will bring hurt to that community.
right,
Um, so it's really important. It's really important because people around the world steal from different cultures, particularly like Black culture as well. And
absolutely,
I know how that makes me feel. So imagine all these other people who are around.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Amira, I greatly appreciate your time. Um, any last words for the people that know you, that don't know you, that are getting to know you right now? And yeah, any last words?
Well, first, I really appreciated your questions. Like this is one of my favorite interviews I've done because
Uh,
it was so thorough, and I appreciate the space to speak. I guess I would just say this is gonna be a really exciting ride. I think there's gonna be ebb and flow in style, but if you're interested in seeing someone try to create a new lane in music, you should follow me. Like, I have goals posted on my wall. Like, like over there, I have like, I want to be the first Muslim artist to headline SNL. Like, I want to like
wow.
do a lot of different things in life, and it can only happen with the support of a lot of different communities.
Excellent, excellent. Once again, Amira Unplugged, I appreciate your time. I wish you nothing but the best. I'm proud of you. I don't know you, proud of you and your
Thank you.
journey, and wish you nothing but greatness from here on out. Whatever you want, you shall have.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thanks y'all for being on here. I appreciate you.
Of course, and you have a great night. Thank you,
You too.
y'all. Source, of course.